Hello everyone, it's Steph. Welcome to today's video. If this is the first video of mine that you are seeing, welcome to my channel where I post daily about spirituality, healing, and personal growth. I do post daily. However, if you happen to be looking for yesterday's video on yesterday, I do apologize. I did shoot it yesterday, but I tried to upload it too late and it ended up being posted early this morning. So technically getting 2 videos today, but I did make up for the late upload by giving you another video today. So in this video we're going to be talking about releasing our tendency to try to control our lives through fear. And what do I mean by that? You know, fear is our primary survival instinct. So when we have life experiences where we've endured certain traumas, just certain experiences that were damaging or hurtful to us, endured certain abuses, certain betrayals, and if we've just had a life experiences that has shaped us to have low self-esteem, low self-confidence, low self-value, and all of those toxic identities that tend to rob us of our ultimate form. And I'm going to be talking about this because I know that this is something that I've gone through personally, and at one point in time it was a very strong battle for me. And what I've learned about trying to control your life through fear is that it can tend to rob you of many opportunities. It can rob you of many positive experiences. It can rob you of many productive and enriching relationships and friendships, and ultimately it can just rob you of your sense of your overall well-being, your peace, your joy, and your optimism for life. It can rob you of being able to see how great the possibilities are for situations in your life, for opportunities in your life, and just for your life as a whole. And while fear does have some positive aspects, like helping us to stay out of harm's way, helping us to stay away from danger, helping us not to repeat destructive behaviors toward ourselves or others. So we fear doing those things, so we don't do them. We fear doing those things, so we try to keep ourselves out of those type of situations and predicaments. However, fear does become toxic when it controls us. When we become slaves to fear, when fear uses us instead of us using fear, now we have a problem. Now it has become toxic identity, and now we have an issue on our hands. We have a bondage that we need to escape from, that we need to heal from, that we need to overcome and conquer. Now, where do we see this happen most prevalently? We see it happen most prevalently when it comes to 1, goals and dreams that we have and pursuing them, and 2, when it comes to our relationships. Now, when we're talking about releasing the tendency to try to control our lives through fear, let's talk about it in the context of pursuing dreams and goals and opportunities and things like that. So what tends to happen when we try to control our lives through fear? We can have many gifts, we can have intelligence, we can have great abilities, great charisma. However, when we tend to try to control our lives through fear, or even subconsciously control our lives through fear, we tend to self-sabotage a lot. Meaning, we'll have great opportunities in front of us. We'll have the opportunity to step out of our comfort zone. We have our opportunity to do something new, do something that we've never done or experienced before, and ultimately we won't take it, or ultimately we'll work our way up to get toward a goal, and then during that process somehow negativity seeps in and it talks us out of the process, and it causes us to break our good habits that were pushing us forward. Somehow that negativity will seep in, and then all of a sudden we begin to fear failure very strongly, and somehow this fear of failure, it throws us off. It throws our progress off. It throws our way of thinking off, and it puts us in a place of doubt. And one thing that we can't do is doubt and believe at the same time. So essentially, when it comes to our goals and pursuing certain paths in life, being controlled by fear, it doesn't allow us to push forward when times get rough. It doesn't allow us to endure. It doesn't allow us to be strong. It doesn't allow us to enjoy the process, because every setback and obstacle feels like the end of the world. And that's why when it comes to our goals and things like that, we need to let go of fear altogether. We need to stop necessarily living for the instant gratification and living for the reward. And if you watch my videos, I'm always talking about self-validation. Self-validation is important. We need to be able to validate ourselves and not get our validation from external sources. Because once we begin to validate ourselves, we become free from the pressures and anxieties of trying to be validated by external sources, trying to impress, trying to find our value in material things. Once we find that stuff within, our fortitude and our will becomes like a rock. Our self-confidence becomes like a rock. So instead of, pursuing things fearfully or allowing life's obstacles and negativities to put us in a place of feeling drowned or overwhelmed, and to the point where we no longer can believe in ourselves, we need to release that altogether and focus more so on gaining along the journey. So each time we run into a setback, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to learn, to get smarter, to become wiser, so that we can take that wisdom and continue to progress forward. So essentially, all failure and all setbacks are a requirement to be successful. Anybody who's ever achieved something great in this world has run into setbacks. Anybody who's ever achieved something spectacular has failed repeatedly. And it's because of those repeated failures that they had the strength, the fortitude, the knowledge, and the wisdom and discretion to actually go on and complete and bring that manifestation to reality successfully. And when it comes to our relationships, and I'll just be very transparent, when it comes to me, and relationships in my life, for a long time, I was always operating. I'm not going to say I'm fully where I want to be, but I've made a lot of progress. I was always operating from a place of trying to protect my journey, trying to protect my life from harm at the cause of another person. And honestly, while it has helped me to get out of a lot of situations that were not right for me, or were not best for me, I think, just holding on to that fear in that context as a whole, it has caused me to self-sabotage in some ways. It has caused me to self-sabotage in some relationships of mine, and just that type of fear has caused me to self-sabotage in many opportunities that I've had. And it was always from a place of trying to avoid the pain. Now, there's nothing wrong with trying to avoid the pain, because if you can use discretion and wisdom to avoid bad situations, that's smart, that's wise. But the problem with operating from the place of trying to avoid the pain and operating from the place of fear is that it can protect you from the bad, but it can also rob you of the good. So what I'm saying to you, instead of living your life being afraid of the hurt, afraid of the pain, your focus should be living your life healing. And instead of looking outward for your peace, for your surety, you have to look within. Because if you have that stuff truly, if you truly have those things within, then nothing that's happening outwardly can take those things away from you. No one outside of yourself can take those things away from you. And what you have to stand is, when you're living for your purpose and you stay true to that, and you don't operate from a place of fear, and you focus on yourself, you focus on being the best that you can be, healing yourself, and not just being afraid of bad happening to you, you'll find that things will in your life will naturally align the way they should be, and things that are not conducive to you becoming your best version, you know, fulfilling your purpose, achieving your ultimate form, those things will naturally dissipate and fall out of your life. But what's important is, you know, when you let go of operate from a place of fear and you focus on yourself, healing yourself, being your best self, and finding all those things internally, you become more of your authentic self, and the things in your life will begin to respond to you differently when you operate freely and being your authentic self. When you let go of fear, you connect more deeply with your authentic self. And whether you're pursuing goals or you're pursuing relationships, you know, your goals may even shift. Your frame of mind and your goals will shift to be more toward your authentic self, and your goals will not bring you more fulfillment and happiness. And when you let go of fear and you become your authentic self, when it comes to relationships, you will no longer be operating from a place of trying to avoid the pain and the damage, but you'll be operating from the place of being your authentic self. And now you give a person to know you for who you really are, and that sends out a different signal into the world. Now they can have the opportunity to, one, either appreciate you for who you really are, or two, decide that you're not, maybe you're not their cup of tea. And if you're being fearful, you don't give yourself the opportunity to really and organically grow with a person for who they really are. You're really just placing the context of your fear on them, and that's not necessarily fair to them. So when it comes to relationships, you need to let go from a place of trying to avoid the pain and the damage and the heartbreak, and trying to and stop operating from a place of fear, because one, whoever you're in a relationship with, that person is on a journey just like you. And if you don't love and accept yourself unconditionally, then you really can't love and accept someone else the right way. Ultimately, both people should be able to be their authentic selves, and then they work together as two individuals to figure out where they can go together, and that's the way it should go. But you know, when you're operating in the spirit of love, so whether it's self-love or loving someone else, fear is cast out. And the stronger love is, the stronger the substance of love is, the weaker the substance of fear becomes. So the stronger that you love yourself, the stronger your love of yourself becomes, and the more empowered you become spiritually. And the stronger that you love others, the less you fear them hurting you, the less you fear incurring damage because of making yourself vulnerable. And this is all necessary for you to be your best and wholesome self. This is all necessary for you to heal those deeply rooted traumas and emotional voids within. You got to stop operating from a place of fear. Your focus never should be fear, no matter where you are in your life or what you're trying to create in your life, whether it's by yourself or with someone else. Your focus should never be fear. First and foremost, your focus needs to be you being your best version, so that you have the best of yourself. So first and foremost, give to yourself and to give to the world around you. And when you begin to develop that identity of self-love and self-care, and going within to connect with your higher self, going within to root out all of those fears, those dramas, those wounds, those traumas, those wounds and those voids, when you begin to develop that identity, you'll find that you'll be a totally different person. And the life circumstances that you attract to yourself, and the people that you attract to yourself, as well as the opportunities that you attract to yourself, will be much higher, be much greater. And once you raise your frequency, the frequency at which you create is different, and the frequency at which you perceive is different, and you give a new light for the people in the world to see. And when you do that, you increase your ability, and you fulfill your capacity to be an inspiration to others. And yeah, I don't want to make this video too long, but yeah, let go of fear, because one thing about fear is that it don't exist. It's all in your mind. And fear is a prison. It's an imaginary prison. It's a glass box that we put around ourselves in order to avoid something that's not here. Don't fear the worst. Always expect the best. Don't fear the worst. Be expecting of the best. and that's how you begin to change your frequency and what you attract in your life. And that's how you begin to change your life environment and how things unfold in your life. You got to change your identity and change your perspective in order to become your best self and maximize your existence. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. I do post daily. Please leave feedback in the comments, and I will love to converse and have discourse back and forth and talk about these things. And also stay tuned for the next video. Thank you. Peace.